This year, we grew our own dried beans, and in this video, we're gonna process our last little bit that we have here. These have been sitting out in the garage. They are pinto beans. They are the ones we had the least amount of, so they kind of got left behind while we processed our other ones, and it's time to get them done today. So we're gonna show you our process for doing that in this video and talk a little bit about why we decided to grow our own dried beans this year. Okay, so when I say we grew our own dried beans this year, and I'm really excited about it, we grew our own dried beans from grocery store bean seed that we bought that you could consume if you wanted to at the grocery store, but we just bought it in order to grow it because buying bean seed was remarkably expensive. Looking into doing this, I looked at seeds online, and there's about 20 to 40 seeds in a pack on the traditional seed packs that you buy, and they're a couple bucks a piece, and that kind of adds up when you know you're going to be planting a lot of bean seeds really close together. Therefore, I decided to look at an organic grocery store and get some beans, but all of this was under 11 bucks. So that's a ton of bean seed. This would cost a lot more if I were to buy this through a seed supplier. So these are the pinto beans we ended up doing. We have some what we think are cannellini beans right here, some red dark kidney beans, and we had another variety that didn't end up working out very well. Those were black beans. Now, being that we just bought these at the grocery store, we don't actually know the variety name. This project is something that we've been trying to do for the last 2 years because we really wanted a way to incorporate dried beans into our pantry for a very low cost for our family and to be able to enjoy them instead of purchasing them from the store, even though dried beans is something that is really cheap to buy. And the reason we wanted to be able to do it ourselves is in order to control the way they're grown. So we know that these beans are not sprayed with any chemicals, and we know how they have been harvested and processed, and we just like to be involved with that. So that's part of the why we decided to do it. And purchasing from the grocery store, we got so many bean seeds in here, and it produced a ton of bean seeds, and it was just a really good way to do it to be a little bit more cost effective. Here are the cannellini beans that we originally purchased next to the ones that we processed. So they're definitely just like the parent beans, at least from what we can tell. These are pinto beans that we grew. We did learn that these don't grow as well in our growing zone. We're in growing zone 4. They needed a little bit more time. The red kidney beans really surprised us. These we will definitely do again next year. The cannellini beans did okay. We'll probably do those. And these ones that you see over here, these aren't actually for eating. These ones are for replanting again. So we have dragon tongue beans, which we're hoping stay true to the parent plant. And then we have our green beans that we've been growing for a long time that our neighbor passed over to us, and we continue to grow them. So these are all for the field, and we definitely don't need this many. So what we ended up harvesting in bean seeds that are for our consumption is right here. And we still haven't done the pintos, which we're gonna do in a minute. And we calculated how many pints of beans this will provide our family once they're cooked, because they get a lot bigger once they're cooked. These are the 2-quart mason jars right here, and we calculated with what we have right here, this is about 48 pints of beans once they are processed in the pressure canner, because you only put about a half cup of beans into each pint jar once you go ahead and process them and pressure can them, because they expand quite a bit in the cooking process. So I would say it's a considerable amount of bean seeds that we were able to grow, which is really exciting. So let's get over to processing these. What we're going to do to process these today is exactly what we did over here. We're going to be smushing all of these, which is called thrashing. And then we are going to be winnowing, which is, separating all of the shells and other parts that end up getting smashed and doing it a lot quicker than breaking open every single one of these pods. I'll show you our DIY method for doing it next in the video. All right, here we go. Let's get these broken up. These are really sharp while you're doing them, which is the reason for the gloves. It makes it a lot more tolerable on your hands. These were also dried in the greenhouse when our season was actually still going, when it was still hot. Right now it is December, almost January, and the greenhouse is pretty much frozen at this point.
It's a good forearm call.
This variety just didn't perform as well for us, which is why we kind of ignored it. They are really tiny, and a lot of them are kind of still gummy, honestly, even though they've had a lot of time to sit and dry. They just weren't quite as ready as the other ones when we harvested those, which I'll put some footage of harvesting those and how satisfying those were to harvest. Now we kind of just pick off all the ones that are, all the shells that are remaining at the top and get rid of them. And then the good stuff will be at the bottom. If there are any big shells, ooh, they crush them. But on a scale that we're doing, this is just fine. We don't have all too many we're doing. This is definitely more beans than we will eat in a year. And you can see the beans at the bottom starting to show up. So now John gets to go outside. Oh, we have some black beans mixed in there. He's gonna go outside and winnow these. And it is snowing outside and pretty nasty. They're already pretty clean. You can see all those in there. But it'll take off all this extra stuff in a really fast and easy way. This is one of the times we actually take advantage of the wind. That is often happening in Montana. So out of all of this, we ended up with this little bit right here. Almost a full jar. All right, and there are pintos. I'll get these labeled, I'll get a lid sealed on them, but that was kind of the process. We are so glad we did this because now that I've made this video and we finally have it done, I'll be able to start pressure canning these beans and get them into our pantry so that we start using them. That wraps up this video. We are definitely happy with the beans that we were able to grow this year. This was about a row of the dried eating beans, not the two that are for planting again, which are these two varieties, but these ones over here. It was about a row, and we had a whole nother variety that was also in the row that completely failed, that didn't mature in time. And this was about 100-foot row, just to kind of give you some reference. We also got it in a bit later in the season for us, which was remarkable that we were able to grow them so well, and like these dark red kidney beans ended up looking pretty good. So maybe this gave you an idea to grow your own beans and be a little bit more self-sufficient so that you can fill your pantry with some really good stuff from your garden. Hope to catch you on the next video.